Good morning, everybody. I'm Alan Joins. It's my honor to serve as mayor of Winston-Salem, and I'm joined this morning by my colleague, Dee Dee Adams, council member from the North Ward. We're just delighted to be here. This is something we've been talking about for a long time, and you've been looking forward for a long time as well. The Councilmember Adams and I just was reminiscing. It was June of 2015 that we had some conversations with the family of the 5 Royals that are here, and they had just gotten inducted into the National Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We were looking for ways to honor them, and we had already named a street, but we felt like that wasn't enough, and Councilmember Adams had a number of great ideas about that, including a commemorative marker. I picked up on that. I said, well, why don't we do like a Walk of Fame kind of a thing around the convention center? And so we then submitted a recommendation to the City Council in November of 2015, and the Council unanimously recommended creating this Walk of Fame in our area here. We're doing this for a number of reasons, obviously, but to recognize the individuals who have played a role in the history of the arts and culture in our community. We're a little bit behind getting it done. It was approved in 15. We had a class approved in 16, 17, 18, and 19. But we wanted to wait till the convention center work was all done before we actually placed the markers and did the unveiling, which we're doing this morning. I hope you'll agree it's been worth the wait, the beautiful facility that we have here. And I can't wait for you to actually see the markers themselves. They are very striking. And I was telling Councilmember Adams, they'll be here long after we're gone. They're made out of solid bronze, and they're welded into the ground there, so nobody's going to come in and take them out during the night there. So they'll be there. So we're delighted to be here as we kick this off today. I'm going to ask, let me just say that on your program you see that Mayor Pro Tem Burke was scheduled to be here. Unfortunately, she had something come up this morning, was not able to be with us, but as you know, Councilmember Burke has been a long supporter of the arts here in our community and history, so I think these two go so very well together. We'll now ask our council member from the North Ward and where we are located, Councilmember Dee Dee Adams, to come forward.
Good morning. As the mayor said, on behalf of the North Ward, we want to welcome you to part of our community. We're just so excited about this week. I mean, look at this place. Look at you guys. I mean, you can see it on your faces. I mean, it's just unbelievable. The Hamlin family and what Larry Leon has done over the 30, 40 years. We want to thank Nigel Alston, the repertory company, and all of the staff and volunteers. And we want to thank the family of these 10 inductees. You know, I look at this list, and I'm kind of like the Mayor Pro Tem now. I've been around long enough now to know at least half of the people on this list. So, you know, when I see people like the 5 Royals, like he said, and Bernard Wilson, who came, he was, oh my God, he wore me down. He was like, when the 5 Royals got inducted into the Hall of Fame, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I'm one of these people. I'm into music, I'm into arts, I'm into all of that stuff. So when it came to the music side and I was seeing it, you know, that it was happening, and Bernard was saying, Councilmember Adams, we need you to make a donation to the cause to get the bus to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I got with the mayor and the Mayor Pro Tem and some others, and we did that. And once that happened, I said, wait a minute. We got celebrities in the midst of Winston-Salem that grew up, born and raised, that got recognized. I don't know how many of you know how big the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is. I'm like, we got to do something. And I said, why don't we do like they do in Hollywood at the Chinese Theater? And instead of putting handprints and feet, why don't we put like stars down that denote what this person or persons are known for, so that the community and the public can come and see that Winston-Salem not no run-of-the-mill place. We got some real folks up in here. So again, I want to thank you all for being here, but when you look at the contributions of people that started the Arts Council, people that started, you know, the Black Repertory Company, people that started like the conductor, Dr. John Iuele. I remember being in the 6th grade at North Elementary, and the city was celebrating this anniversary. I forgot whether it was 100 years or 25. And he came up with the idea of getting all of the 6th graders in Forsyth County to sing at the symphony. And the theme was the Sound of Music songs that I know some of y'all probably and don't remember. But can you imagine 6th graders with those young, high voices singing those songs? And I was one of the ones got chosen for North Elementary. It might not sound like it now, but I had a pretty good high-pitched voice. But I am just, when it comes to all of the 10, the Royals, Larry Leon, Philip Haynes, I met with him on numerous occasions. Mr. Scales, John Iuele, Chris Murrell, oh my God. The Murrell family, thank you. And Dr. Wise and John Heath here, my sister Javon used to hang out. He sang at her funeral, her going home service. Norman Johnson and Doris Pardington. Again, we just want to thank you on behalf of the city of Winston-Salem. And Mayor, yes, I'm taking up the Mayor Pro Tem's time. I added that onto my time because she would have wanted it that way. But I want to thank also Representative Durham Montgomery, who happened to be on the council at the time, that helped to do this. And again, we wanted to coincide it with something special and unique. And what better way than to lock horns and connect to the hip to the Black Theater Festival. And I just told the mayor, I said, you know what? I'm making a suggestion that every 2 years, we do this on the Friday before the festival kicks off, just to start bringing it back into perspective, how important the National Black Theater Festival is to our community. And again, to the great wisdom and creativity of Larry Leon Hamlin, and the great creative spirit of these folks who we're honoring today. So again, thank you all so much for being here on behalf of the city of Winston-Salem and the North Ward.
Thank you, Councilmember Adams. So this morning we are officially unveiling and beginning the Winston-Salem Arts and Cultural Entertainment Memorial Hall of Fame. As you know, this is set up to honor deceased individuals, Winston-Salem residents who made a significant contribution to music, dance, theater, writing, visual arts, motion pictures, television, or radio. Honorees had to have lived in Winston-Salem for at least 5 years and had to practice their craft for at least 5 years. And we're delighted to do that this morning. Honored to have Representative Durham Montgomery with us this morning, and I still call him council member a little bit there. We forget to do that. Representative, we're honored to have you with us today. I wanted to recognize any members of the Memorial Nominating Committee chaired by Ward Miller. Any of our members here, stand up if you would. Tanya Dean, of course, is here. Thank you, Ms. Dean, for serving on that. Did a lot of hard work in bringing recommendations to me and the City Council. So I want to also recognize my assistant, Linda Barnes, who worked really hard on this from the very get-go, as well as Assistant City Manager Ben Rao, who is the chief staff person for this. So, without further ado, let's see the honorees.
This is dedicated to the one I love.
The 5 Royales, nominated by Karen Scales.
While I'm away from
Initially formed as a gospel quintet, the 5 Royales found success and lasting influence when they adapted their spiritual harmonies to R&B. The groundbreaking vocal arrangements created by Loman Pauling, Eugene Tanner, Obadiah Carter, Jimmy Moore, and Odo Jeffries brought 7 top 10 R&B hits in their first 3 years. 2 went to number 1. The group continued to make the R&B charts after Jeffries was succeeded by Eugene Tanner. In 1957, the 5 Royales recorded their best-known song, dedicated to the one I love. Their version stalled at number 13, but the Shirelles and the Mamas and the Papas both enjoyed massive hits with their covers of the song. Other songs by the 5 Royales would be covered by James Brown, Ray Charles, and Mick Jagger. Pauling's innovative guitar techniques would influence Steve Cropper and Eric Clapton. In 2015, the Five Royales were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in belated recognition of what the Hall called a 15-plus year career that was prodigious in scope and influence. The Five Royales. Larry Leon Hamlin, nominated by Nigel Austin. Larry Leon Hamlin was a gifted artist and entrepreneur who blazed new trails for Black theater and elevated it in the national consciousness. Hamlin, a native of Reidsville, North Carolina, was establishing his drama career in New York City when a family emergency brought him back to North Carolina. Determined to remain in theater, Hamlin formed the North Carolina Black Repertory Company in 1979. To build an audience, he created Living Room Theater, in which actors performed excerpts from Black theater classics in the homes of community leaders. In 1988, recognizing that Black theater companies across the nation were all facing challenges, Hamlin conceived the idea of a national festival to celebrate Black theater and its contributions to American culture. In 1979, he produced the first biennial National Black Theater Festival. The New York Times called it one of the most historic events in the history of Black theater and American theater in general. Before his death in 2007, Hamlin produced 8 more festivals and received more than 80 awards and citations for his contributions to theater. Larry Leon Hamlin. R. Philip Haynes, Jr., nominated by Michael Talby. Phil Haynes, a former president and chairman of Haynes Dye and Finishing Company, dedicated his life to promoting the arts for their transformative impact on communities and their residents. Haynes' support for the arts began in 1949 when he agreed to serve on the board of the newly formed Arts Council in Winston-Salem. Eventually, he would help establish many other arts councils throughout the United States. In 1956, he financed the foundation of what would become the Southeastern Center for Contemporary Art, and in 1963, he spearheaded the community effort to ensure that North Carolina established the School of the Arts in Winston-Salem. Haynes also was a founder of the Piedmont Opera, and he was instrumental in raising money to transform the old Carolina Theater into the Stevens Center. Among the hundreds of honors and recognitions received during his lifetime, Haynes was appointed by President Lyndon Johnson to serve on the board of the National Endowment for the Arts. In 1991, he was among 12 artists and patrons awarded the National Medal of the Arts by President George Bush. R. Philip Haynes, Jr. William S. Scales, nominated by Linda Scales Dark. William S. Scales was a pioneer movie producer and entertainment entrepreneur in the early decades of the 20th century. Scales worked briefly as a laborer for R.J. Reynolds before finding success in meeting the unfilled needs of Winston-Salem's African American residents. One such need was for entertainment venues. Scales filled it by establishing 3 theaters in Winston-Salem to serve African Americans. Vaudeville and other live acts initially were the mainstay of his theaters. However, in the 1920s, Scales began producing films for the African American audience. His first film, A Giant of His Race, came out in 1921. Other films included His Great Chance, released in 1923, and The Devil's Match, also released in 1923. Scales was one of the earliest African American film producers in the United States, and his studio, North State Films, is believed to be the first film studio in North Carolina run by a North Carolinian. William S. Scales. John Iuele, nominated by Karen Iuele Banks. John Iuele led the Winston-Salem Symphony for 26 years and turned it from a fledgling civic orchestra into a professional and respected ensemble. Iuele was born in Italy and immigrated to the United States at the age of 12. Skilled at the trumpet, Iuele earned a music scholarship to Michigan State University. He later attended the Juilliard School of Music, where he studied conducting. He worked for several years as a musician in New York before joining the Atlanta Symphony in 1950 as first trumpet and assistant conductor. In 1952, he was hired as the Winston-Salem Symphony's second ever conductor. Iuele worked tirelessly to improve the quality of the symphony and integrate it into the life of the community. He started a music education program that brought symphony musicians into elementary schools. He also initiated a popular outdoor Music at Sunset series of pop concerts. Iuele left in 1978 to lead the Palm Beach Symphony, but upon his retirement, he returned to Winston-Salem, which he considered his hometown. He remained here until his death in 2008. John Iuele. Chris Murrell, nominated by Marion Williams. Chris Murrell's exquisite voice brought him fame and worldwide fans as the featured vocalist for the Count Basie Orchestra from 1991 to 2004. Murrell, a Winston-Salem native, began singing at age 10. He performed locally throughout his school years and with a gospel group called the Christian Disciples. Murrell's big break came while performing with the UNC School of the Arts Jazz Ensemble. In the audience was Frank Foster, who was about to become the leader of the Count Basie Orchestra. Foster remembered Murrell's performance and later recruited him to become the orchestra's vocalist. Murrell's performances with the orchestra helped it win a Grammy Award in 1997 for Best Large Jazz Ensemble Album. During his time with the orchestra, he performed with such luminaries as Ella Fitzgerald, Frank Sinatra, Tony Bennett, and George Benson. His solo career included 2 albums, world tours, and a stint on the London stage performing in I Can't Stop Loving You, the music of Ray Charles. Murrell returned to Winston-Salem in the mid-2000s to care for his aging mother and lived here until his death. Chris Murrell. The Reverend Dr. Robert L. Wise, Sr., nominated by Vivian H. Burke. The Reverend Dr. Robert L. Wise, Sr. was a fixture on the local airways as the host of a radio ministry that was broadcast without interruption for 35 years on WAAA. Wise, a Winston-Salem native, found his life's calling in the ministry after a stint working for a car dealer. He earned Doctor of Divinity and Doctor of Sacred Theology degrees from Jameson Christian College in Cagua, Puerto Rico. His religious studies brought him recognition as a theologian. Wise held both Golden Heritage and Lifetime memberships in the NAACP. In 2010, the Triad Pentecost Network honored Wise as a Pentecostal trailblazer for the Piedmont Triad. The Reverend Dr. Robert L. Wise, Sr. John Henry Heath, nominated by Bethany Heath. John Henry Heath used his rich baritone voice to spread the gospel and delight theater audiences. Heath began singing in church at an early age. By the time he was 12, he was performing solos, and at the age of 24, he became a lead singer for David Allen and the Ambassadors for Christ Church Choir. Heath would go on to sing throughout the United States with numerous gospel singers and groups. During these years, he recorded several CDs, both as a solo artist and with others. Heath also was a member of the North Carolina Black Repertory Company, acting and singing in numerous productions. He was a mentor to the younger talents around him. Heath's musical career was inseparable from his ministry. He was ordained as a minister at Ambassador Cathedral in 1982 and became a pastor in 1992. He founded Higher Ground Deliverance Tabernacle in 1994. Heath served as the church's pastor for the rest of his life while remaining active in the arts. His last CD, Get Right Church, was released in 2006. John Henry Heath. Norman Johnson, nominated by James Albritton. Norman Johnson, born in New York, became a fixture of the music world in his adopted home state of North Carolina. Johnson completed bachelor's and master's degrees in piano from the prestigious Juilliard School. He began his career accompanying some of the leading opera singers of the day, and in 1955 he became associate conductor for the Oratorious Society of New York. Over his career, Johnson lent his talents to opera and music organizations around the country. He was conductor of the Central City Opera Festival in Colorado from 1962 to 1970. He taught conducting at Baltimore's Peabody Conservatory of Music from 1964 to 1968. In 1967, he was named conductor of the Denver Lyric Opera. In 1968, he came to North Carolina to lead opera studies at the UNC School of the Arts, and from 1975 to 1980, he was chorus master for the Winston-Salem Symphony. Johnson also served as guest conductor for the Greensboro Opera, the Charlotte and Winston-Salem Symphonies, and the North Carolina Summer Festival. But he is best remembered for establishing the Piedmont Opera Theater in 1978. He served as its director until his death, steadily building the company's fan base and ensuring its continued success 25 years later. Norman Johnson. Doris Pardington, nominated by Georgia West. Doris Pardington, a founder and the first full-time managing director of the Little Theater of Winston-Salem, built community theater into an integral part of Winston-Salem's civic life. Pardington, a former speech and drama instructor at Salem College, was among those who established the Little Theater in 1935. Initially, she participated as an actor or director for its productions. In 1945, she became the first woman president of the Little Theater's board. She was re-elected president the following year, making her the board's first two-term president. In 1950, she agreed to become the Little Theater's managing director. She was its first paid employee. She held this position until her retirement in 1971. Throughout her career, Pardington worked to bring quality performances to Winston-Salem. She encouraged teens and children in the theatrical arts, and she provided opportunities for volunteers from every walk of life to participate in live theater. Her efforts created an audience for live theater that has enriched Winston-Salem and contributed to its reputation as the city of arts and innovation. Doris Pardington.
Wow, I'm blown away. I think you'll agree with me that Winston-Salem has been blessed and is truly a much better place because by the contributions of all these individuals that we are honoring today. So now let's get to what we're here for. So I'm going to ask that we'll take your time. We're going to take about 10 minutes and move out these doors and over to the sidewalk out at Cherry Street there at 5th. Just take your time. We'll head that way and we'll wait for you. And then we'll do the unveiling out there.
Okay, on the count of 3, the 5 Royales. 1, 2, 3. 3. William S. Scales. 3, 2, 1. There we are. There we are. Mr. Philip Haynes. 3, 2, 1. Woo! Mr. John Iuele, 3, 2, 1. Chris Murrell, 3, 2, 1. Y. For Dr. Reverend Robert Wise, 3, 2, 1. Mr. John Heath, in 3, 2, 1. For Mr. Norman Johnson, please join us right here. 3, 2, 1. Doris Pardington, please join us at the front. 3, 2, 1.
Well, thank you all again for being here today. I think you'll agree that this is a very special and beautiful way of honoring these individuals who have made such a difference to the city of Winston-Salem that we can remember forever here, and the visitors who come into our city at the convention center. And this is a civic center as well. They have a number of local meetings here as well, so our citizens as well as visitors will be able to appreciate and know about these individuals. Inside the convention center will be information about each one of these individuals if you wanted to know about them in more detail. So again, thank you for coming. If any of the family wants to come up and take more detailed pictures, please feel to. Good morning. Have a great day.